Next, let's talk about some of the important terms in cultural studies. The first term is signification. I am sure you're familiar with the signification. Signification, as the title indicates, as the word indicates, it's about giving meanings through mostly language. It can be through pictures. It can be through makeup. It can be through poem, novel. Food, clothing, fashion, accessories, hairstyle, tattoos, anything. But always understand that that thing, whatever it is that you are using as a medium, it's not placed as just for the sake of filling a void. It's there because it intends to convey a meaning. That is signification in simple terms. For example, the reason why I am wearing this Kerala sari, it's not because I didn't have anything else to wear for this video today. No, because Onam is on the way this week and I thought, okay, what else is most appropriate than a Kerala sari? And speaking of which, is this really a Kerala sari? No, a traditional Kerala sari looks a lot different. But an imitation. This is a little bit of a modernized version of a Kerala sari, because silver brocades was never a thing in Kerala. Traditional Nair or upper caste costume, it was not about silver brocades. It was about gold, golden color, gold, real gold brocades. The rich people, the upper caste people. So here, by choosing this particular dress code, I'm conveying a meaning. Probably my intentions are, giving a vibe of Onam, or maybe giving you some sort of the festival mood, in just to kill the boredom of the regular day-to-day class. Could be anything. So always understand that this is a signifying process. The example I have given in the notes is about Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton, the comparison media had about these two princesses. Well, Meghan is not technically a princess, but let's call them princess, because both of them are daughters-in-law of Diana, the late Princess Diana. Now, soon after the marriage between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, Prince Harry is the younger brother of William. They both are sons of Diana, I hope you know this. So, soon after the marriage between Meghan and Harry, media started comparing Meghan and Diana and Kate and Diana. Always they had these pictures in Instagram, finding some sort of, maybe it is a similar color in their outfits, or some sort of similarity in the hats they wore at that time, taking archive pictures of Diana and comparing with Meghan's outfit. So putting these two pictures together, and then you have suddenly a kind of sensation that, okay, Meghan is actually following the footsteps of Diana by revolting against the monarchy, against the royal family. Now suddenly British people, they started spreading pictures of Kate and Diana, because Kate has this inbred British looks and the dress code and everything, and she, by portraying Kate and Diana together in a picture, it shows that Kate is actually the descendant of Diana, obviously, because she will be the next queen in some future. So this is why, by placing these two people, it's not just that they are placing a late princess and her first daughter-in-law, and then again the late princess and the second daughter-in-law. No, there is an agenda, because Meghan Markle has a lot more supporters in America than in Britain. Britishers hate her. Kate has, on the other hand, followers both in America and Britain. So these pictures, they have a clear agenda, because they both want, these people, both the groups want to portray their Meghan and Kate, whoever they are supporting, their daughter-in-law, chosen daughter-in-law, as the true descendant of Diana, as someone who would follow the footsteps of Diana. Why Diana? Because Diana was always loved by the people. She was more famous than the queen herself. It was after the death of Diana, the queen, her fading glory returned actually. Everybody started recognizing queen as a good woman. Until then, Diana was the center of attraction. She was always there. The media loved Diana. So by these comparisons, between Diana Meghan and Diana Kate. They are looking for the support and the affection people had for Diana spread to these two women as well. So there is always an agenda. It is a signifying process. It's a signification going on, looking for groups, because white people will obviously support Kate and the blacks will obviously support Meghan, and also Meghan will have the support of all the Commonwealth nations, Indians, Africans, Canadians. It's supposed to be. So you get the meaning, right? So this is an important term, signification, the first term Chris Barker talks about in this essay. The next term is representation. Representation is a very tricky term. Representing can be, it can be anything. You can represent something using any means, but it has to be what? It has to be carefully chosen, because it should not give a wrong meaning. It can be really political also. Just before I was talking about the Kerala sari and the dress. By choosing these golden brocades Kerala sari, you are representing the entire Kerala culture. The medium you're using is a dress code, a dress, a piece of clothing. Now, by choosing this, you're also subordinating another category who never had the opportunity to wear these expensive clothes. Let's talk about representation in a more formal way. See, Stuart Hall describes representation as the process by which meaning is produced and exchanged between members of a culture. Now, signification is just the process of creation of meaning. It generates meaning through any medium. But representation is a bit different, because it is a next step of signifying, right? It's a next step of signification, because once you have signified, you have done with the signification, always remember whatever you are using for this signification, that will convey a meaning to others. Then it becomes representation. By choosing a Kerala sari, if I intend to give that Onam vibe, it has to be the same way for the onlooker as well. The onlookers, the people who are watching this, the people who look at me should get the same message. Then it becomes a representation. I am representing a Malayali woman, a Kerala woman, a woman from Kerala during Onam especially. Then it becomes representation. You get the meaning, you get the difference now. Now let me read this. Cultural studies study the meanings generated through the signifying process. This signifying process will need a textual generation of meaning, such as inscriptions, objects, images, books, magazines and television programs. So then it becomes representation. I have given the example. It's a bit political example, Kerala politics. I hope you won't take it in a wrong way, but it is about how the front page of the major newspapers looked soon after the election results, the election results of 2021, Kerala Legislative Assembly election results were announced. We heard the news that the Health Minister, K.K. Shailaja, she was asked to step down and she was replaced. The very next day, how did the front page of a few newspapers, popular newspapers of Kerala look like? So I have given the pictures here in the notes. You can compare. Malayala Manorama, the front page, how Manorama showed the picture of K.K. Shailaja walking out, and along with Pinarayi Vijayan's very happy, successful face, Manorama also printed Shailaja's full scale, full body picture with the title Ore Chodyam Endukondu, with a question mark. Why was she asked to step down? Just to portray that even though it is a victorious moment, drawbacks are also highlighted, because it was Malayala Manorama's front page. Kerala Kaumudi's front page. Again, happy face of the entire new government, new set of ministers. The title goes Avasana Twistil Shailajayam Out. That is the first title. Then you have the next title, Navatarangam. They also portray this drawback. Shailaja is out. But Deshabhimani, the party newspaper, Deshabhimani's front page looked magnificent because it had an array of the new ministers. It has a wonderful picture of Pinarayi Vijayan, and KK Shailaja's news was nowhere there in the front page. They chose the fifth page, page number 5, and in a corner, in a small area, they printed anything about KK Shailaja at all. Now, the point is, see, it is always about printing, right? The news. But it really matters where they print the news, this piece of news. If it is in the front page with a color title, with a photograph, people tend to look more at it. But when it is in page 5, nobody is going to look at page 5. I mean, it's like almost like A.K. Shailaja's issue doesn't even exist if you read Deshabhimani paper. So this is the example I have given because it's relevant in our culture, in our political background. It makes more sense, but you can find similar examples everywhere. In global politics, in Indian politics, also you can find a lot of meanings. It is all about where you signify, where, the location that matters. A picture of a skull and bones crossed, if you put somewhere on a wall or on any electronics or a machine or anything electrical equipment, it means it is danger. But at the same time, if you see this picture of Shakespeare holding the skull, it doesn't have the danger element, it has the Hamlet, the heavy literature, the same skull, the same picture of skull. So it represents different things when you put in different places. So this is in a nutshell representation. I am wearing this Kerala sari in Kerala, talking to a group of students who all are Malayalis. Imagine now I am wearing this same sari and I am sending this video link to students who have never heard of Kerala, some students in some other country who never even heard of a language called Malayalam or never heard of a state called Kerala. For them it is, they wouldn't even know what is a sari. For them it's like, okay, she's wearing an outfit with some kind of cloth here, that's it. So it always matters where I'm going to signify, exhibit this signifying procedure. Then only I can successfully represent this, whatever I am trying to do, whoever I am going to represent, then only it becomes a representation. So this is representation. Please read the notes I have given you, read the example, try to find out more examples and let me know whether you understand representation. And it is an important term. The next term is materialism. Now this is very easy to understand. Let me read the official definition, then we'll go to the example, then you will say, oh, this is materialism. Okay, we see this every day. Cultural studies also studies the political motives behind a certain representation. So, cultural studies tries to connect them with the political economy. Now by choosing, now everything is very connected, see. You have signification, you have representation, and from representation you can start materialism. Because only with the representation an economy can control something. This is a discipline concerned with the power and the distribution of economic and social resources. Now all heavy terms, I'll give you an example. I have given the example of Fair and Lovely cream. It's a fairness beauty cream. I remember in my generation when I was young, everybody, almost everyone, including me, was into Fair and Lovely. Because we all thought it would make us fair and successful and beautiful like that TV ad with that wind blowing hair and the turning of the face and the all fair look and pink lips. I had no idea about the editing or the falsehood of advertisement, the cunning advertisement. Now that everybody is talking about body positivity, black skin, brown skin, yellow skin, all types of skin, even the body, whatever we had earlier considered as a negative things, even that is celebrated these days. It's a part of body positivity movement. Now that the women in India are more educated, Indian market of beauty products, they want to be part of this body positivity movement, because they know that if you want to please, if you want more customers, you want to make sure that all these women are included. More inclusivity should be there, because they want to widen the market. So to have this inclusivity, they have embraced the term body positivity. So if you look at the advertisement of Dove and Fair and Lovely, you get this. Different types of women looking a bit heavy, bit thin, not the conventional beauty type that you see like in item dancers in Bollywood. Not their body type, but different body types. Body types like we all have, you and I have. Common, regular, daily types. Now, Fair and Lovely has embraced this body positivity, and it changed the name of the product into Glow and Lovely, right? Yeah, Glow and Lovely. Now, Glow and Lovely, it doesn't have that picture right in the front of the tube, which shows a transformation from a black face to a white face. It doesn't show that. It just shows Glow and Lovely, and it shows a white face. But it uses right in the front that the same original formula, the original formula. Now, what does that mean? The same product that was there in the Fair and Lovely tube, which had Fair and Lovely on tag. The same product is repacked into Glow and Lovely, and they put it in the front that it is the same product. It sounds stupid and brilliant at the same time, because see, even though women are educated, they embrace the body positivity and everything, deep down, whatever patriarchy has essentialized this thought that fair skin is more beautiful, that is there. We will always be reminded, even today, by our family, relatives and family members, that fair skin is beautiful. Fair, getting fair is something good. No one would bother if it is anemia or anything, but fair means, yeah, it's good. She's doing good. That means she's doing well. Right? So, my point is that, okay, they want to please the educated modern Indian woman by selling her a product which is not going to make her fair according to her education and her new awareness. She should not feel like I am betraying my own education, my own awareness. For example, if I am a regular customer of Fair and Lovely, and if they change the product into Glow and Lovely, I'd be worried. എനിക്ക് നന്നായിട്ട് വെളുക്കണമെന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ മനസ്സിലുള്ള ആഗ്രഹം. ആരെന്തൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞാലും കറുത്ത സ്കിൻ ബ്യൂട്ടിഫുൾ ആണെന്ന് എത്ര പറഞ്ഞാലും എൻ്റെ ആഗ്രഹം എനിക്ക് വെളുത്ത സ്കിൻ വേണമെന്നാണ്. അപ്പോൾ പുറമേ ഞാൻ എല്ലാവരോടും പറയും, ഓ കറുപ്പിന് അഴകുണ്ട്, ആരാ പറഞ്ഞു, എനിക്ക് എൻ്റെ കറുത്ത സ്കിൻ ഇഷ്ടമാണെന്ന് 10 തവണ പറഞ്ഞാലും ഉള്ളിൽ ഞാൻ എപ്പോഴും ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നത് എനിക്ക് വെളുക്കണം എന്നാണെങ്കിൽ തീർച്ചയായും ഞാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നത് ആ പഴയ ഫെയർ ആൻഡ് ലവ്ലിയുടെ അതേ ഇൻഗ്രീഡിയൻസ് ഇതിൽ തന്നെ ഉണ്ടാവണം എന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ മനസ്സിൽ ഞാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നത്. ശരിയല്ലേ? സോ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിൻ്റെ പേര് മാറിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് മാറുമോ എന്ന പേടി കൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ ചിലപ്പോൾ മേടിക്കാതെ മറ്റേതെങ്കിലും പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ട്രൈ ചെയ്യും. വെളുപ്പിക്കുന്ന മറ്റേതെങ്കിലും ബ്യൂട്ടി ക്രീംസ് ഞാൻ ട്രൈ ചെയ്തേക്കാം. അങ്ങനെ പോകാതിരിക്കാൻ കൂടി വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് അതിൻ്റെ ഫ്രണ്ടിൽ സെയിം ഫോർമുല, ഒറിജിനൽ ഫോർമുല എന്നെഴുതി വെച്ചേക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും പുതിയ ഗ്ലോ ആൻഡ് ലവ്ലി മേടിക്കുന്ന എനിക്കൊരു സാറ്റിസ്ഫാക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. കാരണം ഞാൻ വെളുക്കുന്ന ഒരു ക്രീമല്ല മേടിക്കുന്നതെന്നും, എന്നാൽ ഉള്ളിൻ്റെ ഉള്ളിൽ എൻ്റെ ഉദ്ദേശം എന്താണോ അത് നടന്ന് കിട്ടുകയും ചെയ്യും. എന്നാൽ നാണക്കേടുമില്ല, ഞാൻ വെളുക്കാനുള്ളൊരു ക്രീം ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നു എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ചളിപ്പ് എനിക്ക് ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. ഇറ്റ്സ് എ ബിറ്റ് ഓഫ് എ ട്രിക്കി സൈക്കോളജി ഹിയർ. സോ ഇതാണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ സൈക്കോളജി. ആൻഡ് ദേ ആർ കൺട്രോളിങ് ദ ഹോൾ മാർക്കറ്റ്. സോ ദിസ് ഈസ് മെറ്റീരിയലിസം. They change, but they sell at first the white skin, then they embrace body positivity. ഇപ്പോൾ എന്താ സംഭവം? പണ്ട് ഫെയർ ആൻഡ് ലവ്ലി വെളുക്കുന്ന ക്രീമാണ്, അതുകൊണ്ട് എനിക്ക് വെളുക്കണ്ട എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നവർ പോലും ഗ്ലോ ആൻഡ് ലവ്ലി മേടിക്കാൻ മടി കാണിക്കില്ല. കാരണം അത് വെളുപ്പിക്കുന്നൊരു ക്രീം അല്ല എന്നാണ് ഇനിയിപ്പോൾ അടുത്ത ജനറേഷൻ തൊട്ട് പിള്ളേർ അറിയാൻ പോകുന്നത്. അത് വെളുക്കുന്നൊരു ക്രീമല്ല, ഇറ്റ്സ് ഫോർ മേക്കിംഗ് ദ സ്കിൻ ഗ്ലോ. ആർക്കും ഗ്ലോ ചെയ്യാം. ബ്രൗൺ സ്കിന്നുള്ളവർക്കോ ഇരുണ്ട സ്കിന്നുള്ളവർക്കോ ഒക്കെ ഗ്ലോ ചെയ്യാം. ഗ്ലോയിങ് ഈസ് ഫോർ എനി സ്കിൻ, റൈറ്റ്? See the marketing. So this is an example for materialism. Non-reductionism. Next term. Non-reductionism is quite simple. Now we talked about materialism. But non-reductionism is somewhat in a kind of an opposite term to materialism. Because I told you about white skin, I told you about fair and lovely. Now, is it at all possible that explaining white skin only in terms of fair and lovely? No, you should not reduce white skin only with regard to fair and lovely. Then it becomes reductionism. ഒരു വെളുത്ത തൊലി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഫെയർ ആൻഡ് ലവ്ലിയുടെ മാർക്കറ്റിനെ കുറിച്ച് മാത്രം പറയാനായിട്ട് ഉപയോഗിക്കുമ്പോഴാണ് അത് എന്താണ്, അത് റിഡക്ഷനിസം ആവുകയാണ്. കാരണം വെളുത്ത തൊലി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ബ്യൂട്ടീനെ മാത്രം സിഗ്നിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്ന കാര്യമല്ല, അത് ആര്യൻ റേസിനെ സിഗ്നിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്ന കാര്യമാണ്. അപ്പർ കാസ്റ്റ്, പവർ, മണി, അത് മാത്രമല്ല ബ്രിട്ടീഷേഴ്സ്, ദ വെസ്റ്റേണേഴ്സ് ആൻഡ് പവർ, success, everything. So you can explain fair skin, use this in the context of colonialism, racial discussions, gender discussions, because women are supposed to be fair skinned. If men have brown or a little bit dark skin, they'll be fine. Even darker skinned men are adored actually. But even in Tamil film, a Dravidian film, they show the fair skinned girl. The hero is brown skinned, darker skinned, but the girl, the heroine, is always fair skinned. So you must understand, even gender also, feminism, you can use this. It's a wide area. Anywhere you should be able to use this. Then it is non-reductionism. It's like the example I have given here is about a bike or a car. A bike or a car has a lot of parts. Each part can be separated, and in separated form each part has an identity. Each part can be sold. പാർട്സ് വിൽക്കുന്നവർ നമുക്ക് ഊരി വിൽക്കാൻ പറ്റും, അതിന് അതിൻ്റേതായ ഒരു വാല്യൂ ഉണ്ട്. എന്നാൽ ഒരു പാർട്ട് മറ്റൊരു പാർട്ടുമായിട്ട് റിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് വെക്കുമ്പോൾ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എല്ലാം കൂടി ചേർത്ത് വെക്കുമ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ ഐഡൻറ്റിറ്റി മാറും. ബട്ട് അറ്റ് ദ സെയിം ടൈം ഇറ്റ് കൺസിസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ഓൾ ദീസ് പാർട്സ്. So you should not talk about a car based on its wheels, based on its steerings, based on any engine forms. So this is, if you do that, that becomes reductionism. So when you embrace everything, it becomes non-reductionism. So that is non-reductionism. So the non-reductionism of cultural studies insists that questions of class, gender, sexuality, race, ethnicity, nation and age have their own particularities which cannot be reduced either to political economy or to each other. So this is non-reductionism.